There is a heavy, vibrating pressure behind your eyes that refuses to quiet down, even when the lights are off and the room is completely still. You lie in bed, your body exhausted, but your mind is running like an engine that has lost its brakes. You try to tell yourself to stop, to just let go and sleep, but the thoughts keep coming, each one spawning 3 more, branching out into endless branches of scenario, memory, and regret. You feel a physical heat in your forehead, a shallow restriction in your breath, and a deep, frustrating sense of self-dislike. You wonder why your own brain feels like your worst enemy, and why you are completely powerless to turn it off. If this is familiar, if you recognize the exhausting experience of living entirely in your head, constantly dissecting your past and preparing for your future, what you are facing is not a cognitive defect or a broken brain. According to the psychological framework of Dr. Gabor Maté, chronic overthinking is not a design flaw. It is an adaptation. It is a highly sophisticated protective defense system that your nervous system constructed when you were too young to choose another way. The endless loops of thought are not proof that something is wrong with you. They are the evidence of how hard your mind learned to work to keep you safe from a world that felt too unpredictable to inhabit. Until you understand what your overthinking is protecting you from, you will continue to treat your mind as a battlefield, fighting your thoughts instead of understanding your history. This is not a guide on how to simply silence your brain or force yourself into a state of artificial calm. This is an exploration of the 4 distinct types of overthinking, the childhood survival roots that created them, and how to gently guide your mind back down into the safety of your body. For generations, conventional psychology has treated overthinking as a cognitive bad habit, a behavioral error that we should be able to correct with enough logic, distraction, or willpower. We are told to change our thought patterns, challenge our irrational beliefs, and practice positive thinking. But Gabor Maté's work consistently shows that if we want to truly heal, we must look past the cognitive symptoms and ask a much deeper question. Why does the mind feel the need to think so much in the first place? To understand this somatic puzzle, we must look at the fundamental relationship between the mind and the body. When a child is born, they do not live in their thoughts. They live entirely in their body. They experience the world as a direct, somatic reality of sensations, emotions, and instincts. If the child's environment is safe, attuned, and predictable, they can comfortably remain in their body. They learn that their physical sensations and emotional waves are safe to feel. But if you grew up in an environment where your emotional safety was compromised, where caregivers were volatile, emotionally absent, depressed, or highly demanding, staying in your body became dangerous. If feeling your authentic anger meant risking the loss of attachment, if expressing your genuine sadness made you an inconvenient burden, if your somatic system was constantly flooded with the high-voltage energy of fear that you could neither fight nor run away from, then your nervous system had to find an escape. Your mind made a brilliant protective decision. It retreated to the attic. It pulled your awareness out of your vulnerable, hurting physical body and moved it entirely into your intellect. You learned to live in your head because your head was the only place where you could organize, predict, and control your reality. The body remembers what the mind was forced to forget. Overthinking is the chronic habit of a mind that has forgotten how to feel safe in its own flesh. It is an escape hatch that became a prison. Let us look at the 4 specific types of overthinking that keep us trapped in this mental exile. And the 4th one is the deepest, most invisible loop of all. Before we explore the first type, consider this. We often believe that our thoughts are creating our anxiety, but in reality, our mind is using thoughts to explain the anxiety that is already locked inside our muscles. The first type of overthinking is chronic worry. Worry is entirely oriented toward the future. It is the relentless creation of what-if scenarios. What if I lose my job? What if this headache is a terminal illness? What if my partner gets into a car accident? What if I fail this exam and ruin my entire life? You live your life constantly scanning the horizon for potential disasters, believing that by mentally rehearsing every worst-case scenario, you are preparing yourself to survive them. You struggle to enjoy positive moments because to your mind, letting down your guard is the most dangerous thing you can do. From a trauma-informed perspective, chronic worry is a survival reflex. According to Dr. Gabor Maté, if you grew up in a home where the emotional atmosphere was completely unpredictable, where you never knew if you would encounter warmth or rage, presence or neglect, your young nervous system had to remain on constant high alert. You had to become a child psychic, trying to anticipate the next storm before it broke so that you could adjust your behavior and protect your connection to your caregivers. Your brain wired future scanning directly to your survival. This doesn't mean you're broken. It means your mind learned to protect you. That chronic worry, that is not a personality trait. That is not weakness. That is intelligence in service of survival, maintaining a high alert watchtower because, in your past, being caught off guard was the most painful thing that could happen to you. You are still treating your adult life like that unpredictable childhood home, believing that if you stop worrying for even a minute, the storm will catch you unprepared. But as exhausting as future scanning is, there is a second type of overthinking that is even more terrifying because it feels completely out of your control. The second type of overthinking is intrusive thoughts. These are sudden, shocking, and deeply unwanted images or ideas that flash across your mind like a horror movie. You might be standing near a high balcony and have a sudden thought of jumping, or holding a kitchen knife and have a sudden image of harming someone you love, or walking through a public space and have a sudden, devastating thought that you are going to ruin everything in a single moment of madness. These thoughts make you feel physically sick. You look at them and think, am I a monster? Am I losing my mind? Does this mean I secretly want these terrible things to happen? From a trauma-informed perspective, intrusive thoughts are the somatic pressure valve of your psyche. Many people discover that when a child is forced to suppress their natural, high-voltage emotional responses, especially anger, terror, or grief, to maintain their connection to their caregivers, those emotions do not disappear. They are packed away in the physical body under immense pressure. When the emotional body has been forced to carry this hidden pressure for decades, the energy eventually leaks out. Because you have trained yourself to never feel your anger or your terror in your body, your brain cannot process the energy somatically. Instead, it translates that raw, pressurized, survival-level energy into shocking cognitive symbols. The intrusive thought is not a desire. It is a translation of high-voltage somatic stress that has been driven underground. The body remembers what the mind was forced to forget. Your intrusive thoughts are the physical scream of a nervous system that is holding too much suppressed energy. Not because something was wrong with you, because something was wrong with what happened to you, and your brain is using terrifying mental imagery to express the terror that is already trapped in your nervous system. It is your system's intelligence, trying to get you to look at your suppressed pain by showing you images you cannot ignore. And while intrusive thoughts shock us in the present, the third type of overthinking drags us backward, locking us in a loop we can never escape. The third type of overthinking is rumination. Rumination is entirely oriented toward the past. It is the endless replaying of past events, conversations, and decisions. Why did I say that awkward thing 5 years ago? Why did I stay in that relationship for so long? What if I had made a different choice on that one Tuesday afternoon? You chew on your past mistakes like a bone, reanalyzing every detail, trying to find the exact moment where things went wrong. You feel a deep, heavy sense of regret and shame, believing that if you can just figure out why you did what you did, you can somehow fix the pain of your history. According to Dr. Gabor Maté, this habit of past analysis is born of a child's ultimate defense, self-blame. To a child, admitting that their parents are unsafe, emotionally unavailable, or incapable of loving them is an existential nightmare. If the caregivers are flawed, the child has no one to protect them. So, to preserve their sense of safety, the child's mind makes a desperate, brilliant compromise. My parents are perfect. I am the one who is bad. If I can just figure out what is wrong with me and fix it, they will love me. You took the blame for their neglect, their anger, and their limitations to keep yourself connected to them. As an adult, this survival compromise manifests as chronic rumination. You are still replaying your past, searching for your own badness, believing that if you can just locate the mistake, you can finally earn the love and safety you were denied. This doesn't mean you're broken. It means your mind learned to protect you by choosing the pain of self-blame over the terror of helplessness. That endless replay, that is not overthinking. That is intelligence in service of survival, still trying to solve an unresolvable childhood past to make you feel like you have control over your present. But now we come to the fourth type of overthinking, the one that runs the deepest of all, and the one most people refuse to see as a defense because we have been trained to treat it as a social superpower. The fourth type of overthinking is overanalyzing and hypervigilant decoding. This is the habit of dissecting the micro-expressions, the tone shifts, and the subtle energy of every person you interact with. You receive a short text message, and you spend an hour analyzing the punctuation, the wording, and the space between the lines. Why did they use a period instead of an exclamation mark? Why did their voice drop when they said my name? Are they secretly angry with me? Am I annoying them? You are a master at reading the room, adjusting your personality, and predicting other people's emotional needs before they even speak. You call it empathy. You call it being a good listener or highly intuitive. But from a trauma-informed perspective, this is the survival response of a child who had to navigate emotional unpredictability. If your caregivers were emotionally unstable, depressed, or volatile, your safety depended on your ability to predict their internal weather. You had to become an expert translator of their moods. You learned to read the tightening of their jaw, the flatness of their tone, or the heavy weight of their silence. You had to know if they were about to withdraw their love or explode with irritation before it happened, so you could adjust yourself and stay safe. Your nervous system wired decoding to survival. The body remembers what the mind was forced to forget. Now, as an adult, you are still treating every coworker, friend, and partner like an unstable caregiver. You are still reading the tea leaves of their behavior, terrified that any subtle shift in their energy means you are about to be abandoned or rejected. That hypervigilant decoding, that is not an innate personality trait. That is not weakness. That is intelligence in service of survival. You are still sacrificing your own authenticity, your own peace, and your own perspective to manage the emotional comfort of the adults around you. But the cost of this survival is that you are living in a state of constant, chronic exhaustion, unable to ever let down your guard, and simply exist in the presence of another human being. You are not broken. You adapted. You survived environments that did not have the safety, the stability, or the capacity to hold your true self. You bent yourself into shapes, retreated into your intellect, and ran your mind at high speeds, because that was the only way to keep your connection to the world when you were too small to protect yourself. Of course, these patterns feel automatic. They were rehearsed thousands of times in a body that had no other options. According to Dr. Maté, the path to stopping these 4 types of overthinking does not lie in self-discipline. It does not lie in trying to silence your thoughts or forcing your mind to be quiet. It begins with self-compassion. It begins with shifting your relationship to your own thoughts. When the worry, the intrusive thoughts, the rumination, or the overanalyzing rises, you must stop trying to fight the thoughts. You must stop trying to solve the mental stories. Instead, you must gently but firmly drop your attention down into your physical body. You must look at the part of you that is thinking and ask with deep tenderness, what is my body feeling right now underneath all these thoughts? When you drop into your physical form, you will likely encounter the raw somatic energy of fear, loneliness, or grief that you have been running from since childhood. You must choose to stay with that discomfort. Instead of escaping back to the attic of your mind, you must sit with the somatic sensation. You must put your hand on your chest, breathe into the tightness, and offer yourself the deep, unconditional presence you were denied. You must tell your own body, I see how terrified we are. It is okay to feel this. I am right here with you. We are safe now. This is slow, quiet, and deeply revolutionary work. It will not happen overnight. You will not wake up tomorrow with a perfectly quiet mind. There will be days when the worry takes over, days when the intrusive thoughts shock you, and days when you find yourself replaying your past mistakes until your head aches. But you will also have moments of quiet victory. You will have a moment where you notice your mind starts to audit a social interaction, and you gently stop, take a deep breath, and say, I am allowed to just exist. You will have a moment where you feel the urge to over-explain a boundary, and instead, you say a simple no and let the discomfort wash over you. You will have a moment where you look at your past pain, and instead of blaming yourself, you let yourself weep for the child who had to carry it all alone. With every small choice, you are rewriting the biological script of your life. You are teaching your nervous system that the danger has passed. You are showing your body that you no longer have to live in your head to survive. The same brain that learned how to overthink to protect you can learn how to rest in the quiet sunshine of your presence. You are not fighting your nature, you are coming back to life. Which of these 4 types of overthinking felt the most familiar to you in your daily life? If conversations like this feel valuable to you, consider subscribing. This channel is a dedicated sanctuary for those who are ready to stop managing their survival and start honoring the deep biological truth of their healing. Self-understanding will not rewrite your past, but it will change how your past lives inside your body today. And that is where your freedom begins. The hardest part of healing from overthinking is realizing that your racing mind isn't a malfunction. It's the voice of a child inside you who is still standing guard, trying to protect you from a storm that has already passed. If you recognized yourself in this video, which of the 4 types of overthinking has been your heaviest burden, and how can you offer your body permission to rest today? 4 types of overthinking. Why you can't stop thinking. The roots of overthinking. Why does your mind refuse to quiet down, even when you are completely safe? In this deeply validating video, inspired by the psychological philosophy of Dr. Gabor Maté, we explore the hidden trauma and nervous system regulation behind chronic overthinking. Discover why overthinking is not a cognitive defect or a failure of willpower, but an intelligent survival strategy designed to protect you from underlying emotional pain. We break down the 4 distinct types of overthinking: chronic worry, intrusive thoughts, rumination, and hypervigilant overanalyzing, and trace each back to its childhood attachment roots. Learn why the mind retreats into intellect to escape somatic discomfort, and how to gently guide your nervous system out of hypervigilance and back into safety through somatic awareness and self-compassion.